So, welcome to the sixth round of the 2020 FIDE Women's World Chess Championship. I'm Nigel Short.
Yeah, I'm Zhang Xiaowen. Yeah.
And this is in fact the sixth and last game here in Shanghai. So I'm afraid I will be losing my beautiful commentator, my co-commentator. I will be travelling on to Vladivostok tonight. Yes.
But you will have Hou Yifan to
yes.
come with you.
So that will be a consolation for that. So there's an interesting little point in the match because today Zhu Wenjun, she has the white pieces, but in the seventh round she will also have the white pieces.
Whoa.
So this is a recent innovation in World Championships. They've done this in the previous men's and women's World Championship as well. So it's a fashion. It's a recent fashion to reverse the colours halfway through the match.
Yes.
So
two white.
Two whites. That's right. So actually, it's a strange idea. This. I mean, personally, I'm not in favour of it. I prefer the strict alternation of the colours: white, black, white, black.
Yeah.
Because I think there are advantages to being white in the first game, because maybe you can go 1 point up.
Yeah.
And there are also advantages to being white in the last round, because you can equalize the match, or if you're level, you can go ahead. So it's a slightly strange thing, but they've done it in the Carlsen Caruana match and the previous Women's World Championship match. So that's how it goes. So we should be on in a couple of minutes, and I'm glad to say we're joined. I go to say hello to the... Hi, Cardi. How are things? Good to see you. So we're actually on air. Yes, pleased to meet you. Yeah. So wonderful.
Good luck today.
Yes, okay.
There's a commentary.
Yeah, okay. Okay, great. We'll catch you. Yeah. So we've just been joined by a whole load of dignitaries here. And Arkady Dvorkovich. So that's great that he's come along, and he will also be flying to Vladivostok tonight. To open. So it's going to be a chess plane.
Yeah.
I think lots and lots of players. Okay, so actually this is an important moment for Zhu in the match, because she is moving into, let's say, foreign territory from tonight. She's going to Russia, Goryachkina's homeland.
Yeah.
And of course there will be a lot of supporters there, a lot of there'll be hundreds of chess fans watching each game.
Yeah, and maybe the home food.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the food is such a big deal. The food is excellent here. I think all of us have been enjoying the food here. So is that E4? It looks like
it looks like E4.
E4.
Yes.
And as usual, our board is not working, our live feed. So we need to get We need to get that. So it looks like e4,
Yeah,
e5,
E4,
e5
yes.
from what I can see.
Yes.
And knight f3. Looks like knight c6.
Knight c6 again.
Yeah.
So, not Russia.
No Russian game, or as we say in English, we call this the Petrov defense, but
Petrov defense.
in many other countries, of course, it's called the Russian game.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more popular,
Yes.
known as the Russian game. So,
Yeah.
so we've got the Spanish opening.
Again.
Yeah, and I'm expecting knight f6, which has happened. Yes, indeed. So the Berlin.
Yeah. Again. So let's see what's Ju's preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah. She must.
Well,
to-
she's had a little pause here, so I'm just wondering whether she's going to play differently d3, which is another way to.
But she castling now. Yeah.
Oh, she's castled already.
Yes.
Right.
And here's the same
Yeah.
for the 2 round.
Yeah. So knight takes e4 will be played, I'm sure.
Yes, I think so.
Of course, there are plenty of other moves in this position, but
Okay.
they're just not fashionable. I mean, bishop c5 can be played. Bishop e7 is a move. d6 is a perfectly okay move.
Yeah.
So there are plenty. I mean, knight takes e4 is not a forced move by any stretch of the imagination. But
Yeah.
that is the popular choice these days.
Okay. Knight e4.
And
Rook e1 again.
yeah. So I am quite often joking about the difference between e4 and d4 as
Yeah.
opening moves. And my comment is that that d4 is a better move.
Really?
Yeah, d4 is a better move because when you play e4, your e-pawn is weak. It's unprotected. And we see now what has happened,
Yeah.
that after 4 moves, black has captured that weak pawn.
Yeah.
And this doesn't usually happen in d4
Yes.
openings.
If you play d4, the pawn is
It's
protected
by the queen. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the key thing. So okay, a few more moves. Let's go.
Okay. Knight d6 and knight e5
Yeah,
and
bishop
e7, bishop f1.
Yeah. So we have seen this.
Still.
And we've seen this
same.
before.
Yeah.
Knight takes e5. I think they're all.
Yeah, and rook takes e5.
And castles is going to come, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, castle.
Yeah. Excuse me.
d4.
Yeah. By far the most popular choice.
So let's see which move
Yeah.
they
well,
will have some difference.
yeah.
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 They will change. And now Ju play with white today, and the next round she also play white. So
Yes.
maybe this will have some little advantage for her.
Yeah, well, she should make use of this. So I think it's important for her to really to try and go ahead, because I do not think she wants to go to Vladivostok, being black in the last game, you know, and being, let's say, the match being equal, because this would be a bit unpleasant.
Okay.
So now is the time for her to try and obtain an advantage. So here we have the first, let's say, interesting point that there is a deviation from the earlier game, the second game it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, second game. In that game, you played Rook E2.
Yeah, which is a slightly unusual move, but there we have it.
Yeah, and at that time, we said that the difference between Rook E2 and Rook E1 is that Black will play maybe Rook E8, and now your Rook at E2, you can let her to take your Rook.
That's right,
and you can develop your pieces.
That is absolutely right.
Yeah.
And in fact, Rook E8 is the most common move here. It's the most popular move for Black. So that is the slight difference between these two variations. So Rook E8 has indeed
Rook E1, Rook E8.
Yeah, has indeed been played.
And C3.
And C3. Yeah, this is slightly the most popular choice. There were in fact three main moves there. There was Rook takes E8, and even Bishop F4 is a move which looks a bit strange.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, actually, do you know when this Rook E1 was first played?
Oh.
Do you know which year it was first played?
I don't know. Which year?
I don't know.
Maybe 50 years ago?
No. It's very, very old. 1866. So more than 150, more than 150 years ago. So these are very, very old variations.
Yeah.
And standard logical chess. So you realize that, okay, in some ways chess has changed a lot. Yeah. And in other ways, it hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. They said that fashion is always it's a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will turn back.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that is true with clothing, isn't it? When particularly women's clothes, that sometimes you have these dresses and they're long, and then they're getting shorter, and then they become longer again, and so on, and many changes like this.
So we can say that maybe you buy a dress, and maybe 2 years ago the dress is not be fashion, but that's okay. You put it there, and maybe 12 years ago.
Yes. 12 years later, it will come into fashion.
Yeah. Later, it will come in fashion. Yeah. And here, I guess, why you played Rook E1? Because in second round, when she played Rook E2 and Grashkina comes Knight C4. I
don't think I don't think it's exactly like that. I think she just doesn't want to be predictable, because her opponent will have prepared, for sure.
Yeah.
That Rook E2 would be expected.
Yes.
So now there's a little change, a little shift here.
So Rook E1, you cannot play Knight C4 again. Maybe it forced Black to play like Knight F5
it's a different way.
Yeah.
By far the most popular choice here, by far, is the move Rook takes E1.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
maybe we can see
Yeah,
some
okay,
moves.
yeah.
Yeah.
So rook takes e1.
Queen takes.
Yeah, I see 187 games or
Whoa.
something like that. A lot of games, and
Maybe-
then there are different choices. Knight e8 is
Knight E8.
is a
Whoa.
popular choice.
Yes.
Knight f5 is also played,
Knight f5.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But Knight e8 seems to be one of the main moves here.
Okay. Knight e8 and maybe d5, and bishop comes out, and knight come back and exchange queen for someone. Yeah.
So Knight e8, and then okay, they just go backwards and forwards. And a lot of moves are played there. Bishop f4 is the main move.
Yeah.
After that, d5 has been played, but bishop f4 is more popular.
Yeah.
And then d5 is played by black. So that seems to be a theoretical line.
Yeah.
And bishop d3 is the most popular there.
Okay. Bishop d3, and maybe I will play bishop g4 to come out or somewhat, and just
g6 seems to
Okay.
be the main move, and the knight goes to g7.
Now I can remember that
Yeah.
g6 and maybe knight
Then
g7,
g7 and knight e6. Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
and maybe bishop f5 to exchange them.
That's right. That's a very standard way of playing. So
Yeah.
that's all been seen before. I'm very curious. I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. I'm very curious as to what she manages to produce that is different, because this position
Yeah.
has been seen many, many times at the highest level
Yeah.
in recent years. It's not only, a very old opening, but of course it has become fashionable again
Yeah.
after 150 years. So I'm wondering, what can she possibly produce that is somehow going to give a different problem, going to pose a different problem for her opponent? And it's not clear to me. Well, we will see over the, Goryachkina is thinking.
Yeah.
Now, I can guarantee this is not an unfamiliar position to Goryachkina. She has certainly seen this position
Of course.
before.
Yeah.
She is well within her theory, but she's probably thinking to herself,
Yes.
what is my opponent trying to do?
Yeah, yeah.
What is the purpose of her playing such a modest line and unadventurous line? So I think it's good for her because she's getting her, let's say, her mind, her brain into the position.
Yeah.
She's concentrating already, starting to think of plans, calculations, and yes, for sure, she also knows more moves. She also, I am certain, she has several more moves of theory up her sleeves, and she's just contemplating the position.
Yes.
So it's a different approach to Zhu, and we have seen how she has been playing. There's this difference between them. Actually, Zhu has just, in the opening, she's not been thinking at all.
Yeah.
She basically plays as fast as possible when she remembers her lines.
I think it's
and then she starts thinking.
yeah. Maybe it's different style.
It is a different style, but yesterday it maybe cost her because
Yeah.
because she was in her theory, but more or less the moment she came out of her theory, she started to go wrong.
Yeah. So maybe she cannot to change her mind immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So perhaps she need to think and not play too quickly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think I might, if I were her coach, I'm not her coach, I'm the commentator, I'm also chairman of the appeals committee, so I have to be completely neutral. I don't, not supporting one player or the other player here, just trying to commentate on the match. But, if I were her coach, I would probably say just a little bit slower. Go a little bit slower in the opening. I mean, not to waste your time, but just to warm up. And so when you do get a new position, you that you're ready for it. You're ready to start thinking. That would be what I would say. So rook takes e1 has been played.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
And queen takes e1. Here's a question: why the main line is knight e8
and not
knight f5?
I honestly don't know the answer to this. I really should know the answer to this.
I guess maybe knight f5 is...
It's because of bishop f4, and it's a back rank mate, so that's one of the points.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so knight f5, bishop f4, and if you play d5...
Whoa, maybe it's not good, yeah.
So I think that's probably the main reason.
So knight f5, bishop f4, now black cannot play d5. Maybe c6 or
g6.
or g6, yes. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, so what's the difference after bishop? So g6, if you play g6, yeah, I'm sure this has all been
I think
it's all been played before.
For
And
example, g6, knight d2, and d5, and now you see the knight is on f5 square, but your bishop are not developed.
yeah, I think that is the point. That basically, knight d2, so d5, let's say, and. Yeah, I don't know, because the knight can go back to g7 anyway. I don't know. This is all very mysterious.
If you not go back, it's not waste time. It's
the same. It's two moves.
Okay.
From d6. She played knight f5. Interesting.
Yeah, knight f5. She played this move, not main line.
Interesting.
But white didn't play bishop f4. White played a4 very quickly.
So, knight f5. Now let me see. a4 has been played.
By who?
Let me see.
Yeah, there are
top
players.
Yeah, let me see. It's played by Karyakin.
Oh, yeah?
He's a top player.
Yeah, of course.
So, and when was this? Let me just see. Yeah, that's...
So one game.
No, two games. Two games last year.
Okay. Both play with Karyakin and
Giri. So high-level chess.
Yes. So here is Juventus preparation.
Yeah, clearly. So she likes Sergei Karyakin's idea, A4.
Yeah.
And So tell me, I mean, maybe you can explain to me.
Yeah.
Normally, look, when I was growing up as a chess player,
Yeah.
when the dinosaurs were, when I was growing up as a player, and we were taught that you don't push your rook's pawns. You don't play a4 and h4 in the opening.
Really?
Yeah. That was, you were supposed to put your rooks in the center of the board.
Okay.
So can you tell me was that wrong to put the rooks in the center?
Of course not.
But so what's the idea of a4? Explain that to me.
I think white want to gain more space at queen side.
Yeah.
Yeah, by maybe a4, a5, and maybe b4 or what?
Yeah, certainly a4 and a5. I think
Yeah.
these are the ideas there. So,
because we can imagine black will play d5 indeed, and
Yeah.
d5, d6, for example. So maybe white want to play like a4, b4, b5, or what was so on to break.
yeah,
have a
well,
break.
certainly with a5. Okay, just a couple of general comments here that, of course, you're absolutely right that, a4 is to gain space.
Yeah.
The nice thing, actually, about pushing your rook's pawns is that the further you push your rook's pawn, the more space your rook has
Yeah.
behind. So the more options it has. And if you get in a5 and a6, in fact, you've suddenly opened up a line for your rook. Yes. So you don't need to trouble yourself putting it in the center of the board.
Yes.
So I notice in these games. Let me have a look because I don't study chess these days. I'm too busy as a politician. So let me see. So 2 games from last year in July. D5 was played in one game and D6 was played in the other game.
Whoa.
So interestingly, so why the variation? So let me see. So in the first one, let me get this up so I can understand. That was in Riga in the FIDE Grand Prix. So A4 was played, D5, A5.
e5, as we said.
Yeah.
c6.
6, knight D2,
92.
knight D6, and now knight B3. And so the knight is coming to
c5.
C5, where it cramps the black queen side a little bit.
Maybe
Yeah,
this
the
pawn.
the B7 pawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
in particular. Bishop F5 was played. Bishop F4 was the response.
Yeah.
Knight C5 happened.
Right.
Sorry, Bishop F4. Sorry, Rook C8 and Rook C8 and now
Knight
C5.
C5, yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, B6. A takes B6. A takes B6. Knight D3. H6. Doesn't look very exciting. I mean, it doesn't look very exciting at all.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why that should be bad for black. Looks absolutely okay for black to me.
Yes.
But maybe there is some improvements
Maybe
there.
white's rook is active and at a1.
Yeah, it is active, but there's not really anything
Maybe
that
we'll
much to attack.
Coming to a7
Or
a6. Yeah.
A6 maybe.
And black's bishop, black's rook at c8 seems.
Yeah, not the best, but on the other hand, it's so little. If white is better, it's nothing very
Yeah, so
serious.
I think Drew's style, yes, to have a slightly advantage
Yeah,
and
but
very slowly to push.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I don't see the advantage. That's the point. I don't feel
So you think this position is equalist, right? Equal.
it's so well. If white is better, it's
too small?
It's too small.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. For me, maybe for good players like these two, it's okay.
Yeah.
But for me to win a game, I have to have, one extra piece,
Yeah.
or an extra rook or something, or two extra pawns.
Yeah.
Because my technique is not good enough. I need a lot of advantage. But to have, maybe a rook that's a little bit better placed than my opponent's rook, it's not enough. I need more than that. You know. Maybe a checkmating attack, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So A4, D5, A5 was played.
Yes.
Looks very modest.
And now Grashkina played Bishop E7.
Yeah, looks okay. Looks absolutely okay.
Why she moved her bishop?
Well,
She wants
just
to...
go back one move.
Yeah.
Look at the bishop on F6 and look at the white pawn wall, the great wall.
Whoa.
The great Chinese wall there. There B2, C3, D4.
Yeah.
And that's very solid.
Yeah.
Very difficult to get past. So in fact, the bishop is not well placed on
F6.
On that diagonal. That diagonal is not very effective. So Bishop E7 is a very logical move because she's going round.
Yeah, now I can understand. And by the way, at the second round, she played maybe like Bishop G5 to exchange the bishop.
Yeah, and it was a mistake, wasn't it?
Yes.
So,
and she must be.
She's aware that she played a bad move with Bishop.
She must analyze that. And she maybe starts and know, I cannot play Bishop G5. I should play Bishop E7 and maybe let my bishop go to D6. Yeah.
And from D6, it potentially puts that pressure down on H2. Although white can play G3, but it's well placed on D6. That's
yes. So this is maybe an improve to her.
Yes, certainly she was in a little bit of difficulty in the last game. So in this variation, but the interesting thing is that here the knight on F5 is not actually well placed at all.
Yeah. I think knight should go to E4.
Yeah. Well, it's easier said than done. Maybe the knight should just go back to D6, but you cannot put the bishop on D6 and the knight on D6 simultaneously.
Yeah.
First one, then the other. So, if bishop F4, I guess black can play... Well, black can exchange the bishops, but at least this way, if bishop takes D6, you're putting your knight on a better square, because we know that the D6 is really the optimum square for the knight there, because it covers the following squares. E4, F5, so defending F5, and also intending to come to C4 perhaps, And don't forget it covers b5 as well. I don't think c8 is relevant, but those are the important squares, and it opens the diagonal for the bishop to come out, particular to f5, which is probably the best square for that piece. So I think she's sort of looking to have an easy development there.
Yes, so here maybe white should not play bishop f4. It's too simple.
Yes, I agree. It doesn't set enough problems for black. Actually, it's facilitating black's let's say untangling of the pieces, because the pieces. Black pieces are, they are, you can say the bishop on e7 is developed, the knight on f5 is developed, but they're not on particularly good squares at the moment. So probably you're going to have to move them to better squares to be happy.
Yeah.
So I think that's right, that bishop f4 is too simple.
Yeah. But here I have a question. Is that in this position we know the bishop at f6 is useless.
Yeah.
But if white play like knight d2, knight f3, and knight e5, then the bishop come to can make something to do, and it can exchange the knight.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
and now she played bishop e7 and want to play bishop d6. Now if white play knight d2, knight f3, and the knight e5, does black will maybe lose some time?
Well, let's just have a look. 92 is certainly a good start.
Yes.
Bishop d6, let's say.
And
knight
f5,
yeah.
f3,
Yeah. I'm just wondering, the point is really that it's not a bad way to play. I mean, white is not really threatening knight e5 because f6 can be played.
Oh yeah.
On the other hand, there is a question. What should black play here? Because if bishop d7, knight e5 is not bad.
Yes.
And if bishop e6, it's I'm still not sure that is such a great square actually.
I think maybe black should develop her bishop, light square bishop.
Yeah, but where?
So she should move her knight. So maybe she should play like g6 and move the knight to g7, and then bishop comes to f5.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Although I think one of the problems here is that sometimes the move a5 to a6 can be a little bit annoying for black. I'm not sure. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think a6 could be a little bit disturbing? A6, b6, knight e5, because then maybe the knight is coming into to c6, perhaps.
Yes. So here I should play c6. Oh, maybe I should play c6 at first.
That's possible. That's possible. Yes.
And then you play a6. I can play b6. You play knight e5. Maybe I just play queen c7
or something like that. Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
So it doesn't look like a big deal. It doesn't look like anything is too exciting is happening. But knight d2 has been played.
Yes.
It's a flexible move.
And black played bishop d6.
All right.
Yes.
I think one of the advantages, I mean, you were asking earlier about, why is Goryachkina putting the bishop on d6? But
Yeah.
the bishop on d6, it covers the c5
Oh,
square.
yeah.
So this plan of knight b3, knight c5 is much less effective,
Yeah.
because it can always be taken, when you play it in that way.
Yes. So maybe Goryachkina know the game about Karyagin and Giri.
Yeah, yeah.
So she,
Well, these are top players, and she's a young modern player, and she, for me, modern theory is Steinitz against Zukertort, from the 1880s. That's modern theory for me. But so I'm normally I'm not always paying attention to these games that are played last year.
so maybe in here you should make another plan for
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Also, Anish Giri is always very rude about my chess, so I never watch his games.
Okay. You know a joke about Giri?
No? Oh, God, it's another joke. Oh, God, in Chinese, is it?
No,
Another?
not in Chinese.
Okay.
I forgot which tournament Giri have a lot of draw game.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and there is a picture in internet.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon picture.
Yes.
Is that for Giri? It means maybe in one position it's just one queen to make.
Ah, with the other guys with Queen G8 mate, Queen G7
Yeah, you
mate.
know that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And he's playing Queen G6 with stalemate.
Yeah,
Stalemate. Yeah,
yeah.
that was it. Yeah. I can't remember who were the other guys. I've forgotten who the other players were. Maybe Topalov was one. I've forgotten the
Yeah.
meme.
So,
but
so it's
yeah.
a joke.
Yeah, it
For
was
him.
it was quite funny actually.
Yeah. You know that picture?
Yes, yeah.
Maybe I can find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would play knight f3 here.
Knight f3.
That's what I would.
Yes, because I think here the plan of knight b3 and knight c5
do.
is
It's not effective.
Yeah,
No,
it's not worked.
Yeah.
And now the bishop is maybe to
Yeah.
have some pressure at the h2 pawn.
Yeah.
So you should play
Knight f3, which
to-
is what she's done. Exactly
yeah,
what
to
she's
cover
done.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I agree, I mean, it's one thing, I mean, sometimes they tell you in chess, I mean, you're from the Chinese school of chess, which is maybe a little bit different from the
Yeah,
Western schools of chess, but, they always tell you things like, I used, when I was learning about the game, they say, you must make a plan.
Yeah.
So
Of
let's
course.
say you make a plan a4, a5, and you put the knight on c5. But, of course, this is very, this can be a plan if black doesn't play any moves.
Yeah.
But when your opponent plays some moves and plays against your plan, you have to be flexible. You
Yeah.
have to play in a different way. You
Yeah.
have to respond. So,
Yeah.
it's they had some saying about battles actually.
Yes.
The generals, they make plans for battle. which they collapse on the first encounter with the enemy.
Yeah.
You know, so...
That's right. When you play chess, you always need to think about what's your opponent's idea.
Yeah.
And you should do some prophylaxis.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
You will do that, and your opponents will do that. So you cannot do your plan very easy.
No. There are very few positions where... There are only those positions normally when you are really in control.
Yeah.
You know, you have a sort of domination where you can execute your plans, long plans. You have a position and you say, right, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move my king from the center over to the queen side, or you know, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, only in positions where you're in control. In sharp positions, you never have time to do this. You always have to respond to your opponent's ideas, your opponent's threats.
Yes. So always there's a battle, one move, one step by one step.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
And I often think this about life, actually, in general, that sometimes there is too much thought given to plans, even in business. Even if you're in business, that you may decide, you know, you've got this product and you want to sell this product in a market and so on. But you know, your competitors may be doing something, they may have the same idea, in which case you need another idea, you know. So I'm all in favor of planless play.
and we like that not make a flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe in New Year.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we all like to make some plan at New Year.
Yes.
Yeah. But in the end of the year, you will find that you're not finished.
Of course,
yes.
of course,
so
of
not
course.
make flag.
Right.
Okay, and she played knight f3. Yes, here.
And there is that question. We thought c6 is a reasonable move, you know, then a6, b6. We thought that's okay. You know, I would even be thinking about a6 here with black.
Yeah,
just to say,
okay.
I want to forget about. I don't want to worry anymore about you playing a6. Every move, I don't want to consider you pushing that pawn, you know, this, you know, in my throat like this, you know.
I get
okay, maybe it's immediately not a threat, but it can come, you know, not now, but it can come in 3 moves, or maybe it comes in 10 moves.
I can mean that. I can understand that, because if you let white to play a6 and b6, for example, c6 and a6 and b6. And now the a7 pawn sometimes is it's there, and maybe in endgame
it
become dangerous.
Yeah, in the endgame it can be a real problem because the white pawn becomes very, you know, it becomes very close to queening.
Yeah.
Actually, I like the move that Goryachkina has played, and we spoke about this earlier. We said, okay, the knight is, let's say, in inverted commas, developed on f5, but it's not the best square.
Yes.
It's definitely doesn't have too many possibilities.
And knight at f5 is maybe the bishop cannot come out.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is restricting the development, actually, of your own bishop, the possibilities of bringing out this bishop from c8. So
Yeah.
knight e7 is actually quite a harmonious move, because it has some other points as well.
Yeah.
That it's also covering the c6 square.
Yes.
So that when, let us just theoretically imagine
Yes.
white plays a6,
A6,
and
B6.
we don't want to take that because we get a weak pawn, so we'll
Yeah.
play b6.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then white goes in knight e5,
Knight E5.
right, you know, and here no problem. We
Yeah.
will play f6.
Yeah, f6.
And we will say goodbye, you know, to your knight. You know,
And you should come back.
yeah. White can actually play f4 there, but anyway. But in general, the knight will be kicked back
Yes.
from that square, and then you continue. So it's. The black pieces are nicely placed like that. I mean,
Yes.
black has spent 3 moves moving the bishop and the knight round, but they are, I think, 3 moves that are well spent.
Yeah. And I think the knight e7 is a good idea.
Yeah,
Maybe better than mine, because I said that I will play like g6 and plan to play knight g7 and bishop f5. But maybe it's a little bit slow.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
also possible. Yeah, and you know, sometimes when you play, it's also a little bit strange because g6 is often good, but you've actually moved your bishop away
Yeah.
from the protection
yes.
of those squares.
The dark squares.
Yeah, so actually g6 made more sense when your bishop was on f6. So to
Yeah.
combine bishop d6, bishop coming over to d6 with g6 is a little bit illogical in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's
so,
not.
So the knight e7 maybe is better idea.
It feels more natural to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Definitely feels a reasonable way of playing, and bishop f5 is going to come. I'm sure it
Yeah.
will come.
And maybe the knight will come to g6.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And sometimes will come to f4
yeah,
to make some exchange. Oh, maybe knight g6 and bishop come out and the queen goes to f6 and maybe have some attack chance.
yeah.
Yeah, right?
I'll tell you, there's an interesting possibility here, which is, it depends how, alert you are when you are white.
Yeah.
Because we have been thinking a little bit about statics. It's the difference between statics and dynamics. Dynamics. So we've been talking about more about the statics of the position. But if we think about dynamics now, c4 exactly at this moment might be a good move.
c4.
Yeah, because normally we don't want to play that. I mean, especially 2 or 3 moves ago, it made no sense at all. It was a ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
But c4 exactly at this point might be good, because we threaten c4 to c5.
Yes. And
So we're gaining space. So okay, the first question, let's say if we talk about in terms of pawn weaknesses,
okay.
d takes c4. and we give the isolated pawn to white.
But I don't like this move
Because
white can play bishop c4,
Four.
and the diagonal will be very strong. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
and this is exactly the moment. Whereas if we go back, let's say 3 moves ago, something like that. If we can go back 3 moves, if you just imagine this, I mean, first of all, the move c4 is not even possible here,
Yeah.
So you're not even thinking about such an idea because, and one move earlier, I mean, c4 you can't do because the bishop was on f6. You would never even imagine playing in this way. But exactly after the move knight e7, then suddenly c4 perhaps is a good move.
Okay.
Because this is the moment to seize space on the queen side.
Yes. So here.
But you've got to be alert, because normally you're not thinking. You play c3 much earlier, and you think, I've built my Great Wall of China there, and that's a solid defensive fortress, and you're not thinking to sort of break it up.
Yes.
And this is where you need to be alert. You've got to be sharp and noticing the changes in the position. That hang on, this is maybe a good moment to seize some space, which was not possible before.
Because black don't want to exchange the pawn.
No.
And she will keep the pawn structures maybe by c6.
Yeah.
So now the c4 is success, right?
It is a success because you can you can maybe c5.
And if I come back, maybe b4 like that.
Maybe b4 and maybe even bishop g5 and try and put it round to g3.
Maybe a6.
It's also interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to get this bishop into the game with bishop.
Here.
F6 now,
F6.
and now bishop h4, and then knight h5 is interesting. F5, knight f5 is interesting, and here bishop d3.
Yeah.
Bishop g3 or bishop d3. Bishop d3 is interesting, actually.
Oh, bishop d3.
Yeah. You see what I mean? That the position, if knight takes h4, knight takes h4, and we've got rid of that we've kept our best bishop with white.
Yes.
We put the pawns on the black squares, the bishop on the white square.
Yeah.
And in fact,
and
black's
we gain space.
We've gained space.
Side,
we have.
And we fixed the b pawn.
Yeah, and maybe we're coming into f5. Maybe we're just playing b4. Maybe we're playing queen e3 and rook e1. And it looks like it's a little better for white, Yeah, I mean, nothing enormous, but it's, more pleasant position for white, easier to play. So these are the little possibilities. She's done something different, which is b3, which it's maybe the same sort of idea, but could be a little bit slow. And there is another point to that. Sometimes I think she just wants rook a2 and rook e2. That's what I'm thinking could be.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Maybe that's her idea. Or she maybe just want to play c4 with the pawn protect.
Yeah, but she didn't need to.
Yeah.
It's...
because of black will not take it.
Yeah. It looked very dangerous to take it, actually. It looked not good at all.
Yeah, I don't like that position because the diagonal is too dangerous.
Yeah. Because suddenly the black pieces are not on the right squares, I mean, they're they're well placed for the static approach, but for the dynamic c4, then they're not well placed.
Yeah.
So bishop f5 has been seen. That's quite natural.
Here, if white can play knight h4 to attack the bishop,
Yeah, then maybe bishop e6, I think.
just come back.
Yeah.
And then maybe knight g6 to
Yeah,
avoid
that's
exchange.
right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it seems okay.
Or knight f5 if you wanted. Knight g6 may be better. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
So-
a very natural move.
Yeah.
And here, white play c4.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Now white plays c4. Black will not take it.
No.
so
c6.
c6 again, and here maybe c5, and bishop c7. So
Yeah. We kind of lost a tempo. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not. It's you know, it's possible to do that, but we sort of lost a tempo.
But
with
is this tempo important?
It's a good question. It's a
Yeah.
very, very good question, whether it's so significant. Maybe it's not that important. So there are other ways to play. You know, another idea behind b3 is maybe just to play bishop a3.
Oh, bishop a3
To
to exchange the rook.
yeah,
Bishop.
and then maybe to later to try and occupy e5. You know, that could be. So let's have these moves. Bishop f5. Sorry, bishop f5 was played, and now, and as I say, to exchange the bishops and to occupy. Maybe even with the queen e5 at some point.
But I think black will play knight g6, and you cannot to occupy the e5 square.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Not
Yeah.
that easy. So there's not much in it, you know. Maybe I would. You know, I'd prefer white a little bit, but you know,
The advantage is very small.
very
yeah.
small, very small. If it's there at all, you know, if that is, you know, if white is better, it's not much. That
Yes.
much is clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this might be a good moment for us. Exhausted commentators to have a little break, and we will be back in a few minutes. So after this, you know, this opening phase has finished, and we're into the middle game now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we had a slightly extended break there. We were, but thankfully there have not been too many moves, so I think we will very, very quickly catch up. Take us through the next couple of moves here, please, Xiaowen.
And here, white play c4. As we said, it's white's plan. And now black shouldn't take this pawn.
Probably not,
So black plays c6. And now white play bishop b2.
For me this is a very, very strange move.
Why?
Well, I can tell you quite simply why this is a strange move, because look at the bishop. Show the prospects of this bishop on this diagonal. It is looking at this pawn on d4 in a very passive, defensive way. White should be trying to obtain an advantage here. That's what white must look for. And bishop b2, when you play bishop b2, you're just saying, I hope that my opponent will play d takes c4. And after d takes c4, my bishop then has some prospects on the diagonal.
But white wouldn't.
Well, black will not. Black has got no intention whatsoever to play d takes c4 in this position. Why? So it's very slow. She played b3, and I think it was not necessary. She could have played c4 immediately. b3 and then c4, and then bishop b2, and I just don't like it. I don't like the way she's played it.
I think she played too carefully.
Her play is very conservative, and too conservative in fact, because you don't win games if you play in such a timid way. You need to take more risks in my view, and well, it's not even to take more risks. You have to be more active. That's really what it is.
So maybe the bishop should go to g5.
The bishop should go somewhere. There was another possibility which was actually quite interesting. Instead of bishop b2, it was possible to consider c5.
Okay, c5, and I will play
bishop c7 for sure.
And then
a6.
Oh, not bishop g5, a6 now immediately. So here, if black take the pawn, it's bad.
It's strategically bad because we can play rook takes a6, for example, and rook is on a very active position there, pressing down on the, pressurizing those a7 and c6 pawns, and a very active rook actually.
So black cannot take this pawn. Maybe we'll play b6.
b6, and now you can take on b6, and now this poses a very interesting question to black. Which way do you recapture?
Okay.
Now, the way I think you would normally, you'd often like to recapture is with the pawn, because you keep your pawn chain together.
But now you have a passed pawn and very near to promote.
Absolutely, so that pawn there on a6 is potentially very, very dangerous indeed. It's protected by the rook mainly, but also by
the bishop
on f1. So, white can play maybe bishop g5, something like that. White can play maybe some other things. I like bishop g5 actually. this is, I think, the way to play in an ambitious, dynamic way.
Yeah.
Now, let's have a look. Let's suppose that black doesn't take that pawn. Let's suppose takes with the bishop, which is, it stops white from getting that pass pawn.
Yeah.
Now, bishop to a3. And the bishop is well placed on that diagonal.
And we can see this pawn is not good.
Yeah, that's right. And the bishop is actually superb. If you can just show the control on that diagonal.
Yeah.
And now compare it with the position that we have got. Now, the current position. Let's go to the current position and let's compare the strength or the possibilities of the bishop.
Yeah. So here the bishop is bad, right?
Yeah.
And here the bishop is the difference.
Yeah, that is an excellently placed bishop, very, very active, and white has real chances to play for an advantage.
Yeah.
So I think that's a much more interesting way to play. Bishop b2 looks completely wrong there. So
yeah, so it's too soft, right?
Yeah, and I was just saying, actually, I was in the VIP room there,
Yeah.
and I was just saying that here, I said, at my age, I said, when I'm black,
Okay.
I like to play the move a6 here.
A6 here.
Because I don't like to consider every single move that white can play a6,
Yeah.
And I just like to forget about this possibility by playing a6 myself.
I think you are right, because this move is very annoying. Yeah.
It can be. It can be. Yes. And sometimes, it's just shoved in and it disturbs your pawn structure, your position with black, and then you have to respond to this. So, I would just play a6. I would stop it dead in its tracks, that a pawn, fix it on a5.
Yes.
And sometimes you can even attack it.
Attack the a5 pawn?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Not often, but bishop c7. Sometimes you get in bishop b4.
Yes.
So, but just to fix it, because white's knight is actually on the other side of the board. So the knight is not coming into c5, or you have no concerns like that.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what she's played. So it seems that even the old players and the young players are thinking exactly in the same way.
Yeah.
And I like this move.
Maybe because you are not old, you are also a young player.
I'm young at heart. I'm old, but I'm young at heart.
So a6, and here, what can white to do to go on the position?
Do you know? It's not obvious to me. What is white's plan? It's not clear.
Maybe she won't go knight e5.
Yeah, but knight e5, f6, always f6.
Always f6, so should be come back. It's not worked. Okay.
I don't think it's very effective to play knight e5. You can do it. You can say, okay, I'll wait for you to play f.
Yeah, but knight e5 and f6 come back.
Yeah, well, maybe to d3. Maybe to d3, and then maybe queen d7, because actually, just queen d7. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, so I think it's waste time.
Yeah, and then black is playing rook e8. The black rook is coming onto the only open line.
Yeah. So this move it doesn't work. Yeah. not knight e5. What
So
can
I
play?
you know, I don't know what white should be doing in a position like this. G3 perhaps, G3 to
G3.
block this diagonal against H2,
Yeah.
but it's not, that's kind of a defensive move.
Yeah.
It's
I
nothing.
don't like G3.
Maybe you go Queen C3, maybe something like that. Queen C3 perhaps.
I think maybe white should improve her light square bishop, because now the bishop at f5 is much better than the bishop at f1.
I agree.
Yeah. So maybe I will play knight f4.
Knight H4 is not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I think bishop E6.
And then I can improve my bishop to d3.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. So let me go back. Okay. So that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Maybe instead, can I play bishop E4? Can I do?
Bishop E4.
Is that possible?
Yeah, maybe you can play it. So can I play f3?
You can.
Yeah.
Bishop G6.
And I just exchange, but it seems it's okay.
It's absolutely fine for. I'd probably take with the H pawn there.
H pawn, yeah. And I don't know. I have bishop pair, but the center is near close.
And right? neither of your bishops are particularly effective in this position. I mean, neither of them have good options or diagonals to occupy.
Yeah.
So it looks very solid for black.
Yeah.
Without real problems, I think. So.
But black is also very solid.
Yeah. Okay, so she's gone knight e5, which was your suggestion.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be looking to play f6. I'd definitely be looking to play. Yeah.
I think maybe f6 and knight d3. Yeah, maybe knight d3. But queen d7, I think black is okay.
Absolutely okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we were looking at. Let's consider that.
Yeah.
f6, knight d3, queen d7.
Okay.
You can play knight c5, but I think I can just simply take that. I just take it.
Take.
And you see, the point is, now you've got more scope with the bishop on b2.
Yeah.
But not that much more scope.
Because of the
we've got the mini
wall,
wall there, yeah. So that's the Russian wall there, which to a large degree it nullifies the effectiveness of that bishop on b2.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more space. But it's not clear again what white is doing there. So, I don't think black has any problems at all, and actually it's quite an easy position to play.
Yes, and maybe at this moment, white cannot play queen d7. Maybe she can play queen c7. It's better.
Yeah, it's possible.
To attack the h2 pawn and then play rook e8.
But yeah, it's possible. And
no. Here you can play maybe g7 and
yeah,
then
no, you have
threat
to be
c5.
you have to watch out for that. So actually she's not hurried to play f6.
Okay.
She's played something else, which is not
queen f8.
I must say it's not the first move that I would have thought of. I didn't. It looks odd to me to play that, but it's not that bad because it's clear what is the idea that sooner or later, maybe black wants to play rook e8.
Yeah.
So it could be. Let's suppose that white plays a natural move, like let's say g3, for example.
Okay,
Just
g3.
okay. Let's say it's a reasonable move. I'm trying to find a reasonable move.
Yeah, I think maybe
So
f6 now.
f6 now exactly.
And
Knight moves, and
yeah.
now rook
E8.
e8.
Yeah.
And if knight c5 comes, I don't say immediately, but if knight c5 comes, you can even play bishop c8. That would be.
Oh yeah.
And you know, black then would have got the rook on the open e file, which is you know what black wants to do.
Yes. So this move have a good idea. Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. It feels a little bit artificial.
Yeah.
You know, it's not completely natural because, you know, you play queen f8 and you play rook e8 and then suddenly the queen has no squares. So
Yeah.
it feels a little bit strange to me.
Yeah.
But it's with a clear idea.
And I think maybe she want to play f6, then play queen f7.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it's not
So,
bad. Not bad.
Yeah, she tried to make move not too force.
Yeah.
Because if you play forcing move, then one by one, and you know it's very simple to to make move.
You always must give your opponent the chance to blunder. You know, you should always encourage your opponent to make mistakes. So if you force them to play good moves all the time, it's too easy. So she's gone queen c3. That's kind of a sensible move.
Yeah, because white know that black will play rook e8, and then she move her queen away, right?
There is another interesting point, actually, here, that black, strangely enough, can consider one other move, which is rook d8.
Rook d8.
And the idea of that is something a little bit different. I want to play maybe bishop takes e5 and d4.
Oh, so here black can play rook d8?
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying you would probably move. I don't know what you would move actually, but let's suppose you play g3. If you play rook e1, maybe knight g6 and bishop e4.
Yeah, if you play rook e1, you must be careful about
with the bishop coming exactly onto. So there are some tactical ideas there. You probably wouldn't want to encourage that. So let's suppose you play another move. I don't know, g3, just for the sake of argument.
Okay.
And now bishop takes e5 is interesting.
Yeah.
And then d takes e and
d4?
And d4.
Yeah.
How is this? Maybe not good because of queen b4.
Queen b4, yeah.
Maybe it's not good.
And knight g6.
Aha. Ha.
So here, if you take my b7 pawn, I will take your e5 pawn.
And you're getting some tactical threats there.
Yeah, and I will play c5 to protect my passed pawn.
Yeah, and also, you want knight f3 and bishop e4 as well. So this could be an interesting way to play, definitely. And if, so that's another possibility. Rook e8 looks more natural to me. I think I would put my rook on e8. I would do that.
Yes, and maybe knight g6 is another choice.
Yes. It is.
Because you played Queen C3, and then I can find some threat about Bishop B4. So I want to
Yep.
yeah, I want to play Knight G6.
Yep. That's actually a very sensible idea. That is a good idea, and it's another of the points of Queen F8.
Queen F8.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it. The idea is to clear the space for the rook to come over, probably to E8. But this is another idea that you put the you open this diagonal and you support Bishop B4.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good idea, and Black has no reason to fear C takes D5 because you just take back.
Yeah. So the move Queen F8 is very clever move.
It is. It's a multi-purpose move.
Yeah, and she created a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, Rook E8, and maybe some chance for Bishop B4, like that. Yes. So it's
and maybe also it's possible that she just doesn't want to play F6. I don't mind playing F6. I'm normally quite happy to play F6, but maybe she's saying, well, okay, I don't even need to play F6. Why should I weaken my king side? I mean, for me, I think it's a very small weakness, but and not serious.
Yeah.
But if you play Knight G6, it opens this diagonal, creates some possibilities.
Yeah.
So, good idea.
So now I think maybe the Queen C3 is not so good.
Uh-huh.
Maybe she shouldn't set her queen at C3 square. Maybe she need to put the bishop at C3.
Well, that's a more positional line. But the problem is, of course, you can never do everything at the same time.
Yeah. For example, here, maybe she should play bishop C3.
But then perhaps rook E8.
E8
and then you don't want your queen on the E file.
Yeah.
So you know, yes, I agree with you actually up to a point. The queen is not ideally placed on C3.
Yeah.
So bishop C3 is more positional, but here your queen is also not particularly good on E1 either.
So I need play Queen D2, and maybe it's too slow.
Yeah, it is a little bit slow.
Yeah.
So Rook D8 has been played. Oh, so interesting.
Yeah.
So she's gone for. She has gone for that, and I think with some activity, with. Bishop takes E5, and she's looking for these possibilities with bishop takes E5 and
D4.
And D4.
Yeah.
So whether it's an immediate threat, I don't know.
Yeah. So
perhaps not. But anyway, it is clear that the rook is better placed on D8 than it is on A8.
Yeah, of course. And I think she wants to create some chance.
Yes. She keeps the tension in the position. She's not simplifying too much. She's not
she doesn't
forcing things. You know.
She didn't want to exchange too much and have a deadly draw game. Yeah, she wants to try something.
Tell me something. Xiaowen,
Yeah.
whilst we're looking at this, and tell me something about yourself, because this is our last
Okay.
this is our last chance together. So, what is your best result in your career?
Best results?
Yeah, did you? I saw somewhere you won the Asian Championship. Is that right?
Yeah. And maybe my best result is that I play with a Chinese team at what team?
Championship.
Yeah, what team championship, and then we won the champion. Yeah.
Okay, so you won the gold medal. Gold medal.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Which year was that?
Which year? Maybe 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2011. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. At that time, 2011, I won the Chinese championship.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that I can play with Chinese team.
Okay,
to the
okay.
World
So
Cup.
you automatically qualified for the Chinese team.
Yeah.
And you got the gold medal. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. But you also won the individual Asian
Yes.
Women's Championship in the Philippines. Is that
Yes,
right?
in the Philippines.
In Subic Bay.
Yeah, and
So-
at 2009.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So you must have been about 6 years old at that time. Is She's much older than she looks, I can tell you.
Oh.
People know you here. People are less familiar with you in Europe and maybe the United States. So it's very good that to know something about you. So
Yeah.
So 93. Yeah, I think that's not bad. So it's funny how the game has gone, because if we remember that right in the opening, she played A4, A5,
Yeah.
like Sergei Karyakin as
Yeah.
A4, A5, and as he done against Anish Giri, and the idea was to play knight d2, knight b3, knight c5.
Yes.
So 3 moves to get to c5, and the pawn on a5 and the knight on c5. But here, she's gone by a longer, more circuitous route. The knight has gone. Maybe you can show the route that the knight has gone. It's gone from b1. It's gone from b1 to d2 to f3 to e5 to d3 to c5, which is 5 moves rather than 3 moves, which is which was the Karyakin approach. So it's a slower, more circuitous route for the knight going round, but maybe not a bad idea.
Yes. I think in this position, waste of time is not very important.
Yeah, and also both sides have been, not, wasting time to some
Because
degree.
it's not a very sharp position.
No.
Yeah, we just move our pieces, and the pawn structure is not change too much.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think she wants to play knight c5 to make her bishop at b2 to make sense.
Yeah, to make that, yes, I agree.
And knight g6 have been played.
Now, my question is, 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 is knight c5 a good move or not? You know what I want to do? I actually want to play knight c5,
Yeah.
and I want to support it with b4. So let's do the very, very simple, let's say simple tactics. So, so let's suppose that white plays c takes d5.
C takes d5, c takes
It's d5, and then we want to create this outpost on c5.
C5.
So we play b4.
Yeah, b4.
Now the problem with b4 is that, you know, now if it's white's move, we play knight c5.
Yeah, but
and when we're probably better there, we'll be, you know.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not in time.
We're not in time.
Yeah.
We're not in time because of.
Black can take the bishop, take
And
the
then,
knight.
yeah,
Now.
and you retake with something, let's say with the bishop.
Okay.
and-
I will
and-
take the pawn. Yeah.
Yeah, so we take the pawn. So this may seem like a very stupid variation, but these sort of things are important. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
you know, you have to consider these things. Your strategic objective, knight c5, support it with the pawn on b4. But how do you do it?
Yeah.
Now the problem is that if you play knight c5, let's say now, I can take that.
Yeah, you can take and
d4. And d4 is actually a very annoying move because this is it drives your queen away.
Yeah.
It blocks the diagonal.
And if I play queen
b4,
b4
maybe it's possible still.
to attack the b7 pawn and d4
Can
pawn.
I go d3?
d3. Oh, okay. Oh.
So this it's basically
Yeah,
like the game yesterday,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
with the d pawn charging up the board, and actually that pawn is quite well supported.
Okay, maybe I will come back. Just
Yeah, okay,
here.
but if instead queen takes b7, then I think d2. And the problem for white is going to be that maybe we can play bishop e2, but it's oh god, knight f4 we have to consider. It looks very risky, or even queen e8 you have to consider.
Yeah.
Or knight f4 first, I think. But if instead of bishop e2 we play rook d1, then clearly black plays bishop c2.
Yeah. Of course.
And black is laughing in this position.
So it cannot be happen.
No. So, yeah, it's that question on, you know, what to do. It's also possible, maybe after c takes d5, maybe you can play bishop d3. That's another point.
Take
Yeah,
first.
yeah, I was just thinking that. Bishop d3, just directly take back, and then c takes d5. Because, you know, again, with black, I'm actually quite comfortable here.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, we've spoken many times about the two bishops, the advantage of the two bishops and so on.
Yeah.
But look at the two bishops here. The one on b2 is particularly a miserable piece.
Mm-hmm.
And also, even the one on d3, which is better,
Yeah.
doesn't have that many possibilities, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't have that much potential. So I think bishop d3 is actually a good response to c takes d5, and maybe it's a better response.
Maybe just later I will play like knight f4 to find some exchange.
Yeah, of course. And sometimes the knight goes back to e6 as well. You know, it comes to f4, and I think black has no problems at all.
And another sense maybe is that the knight at d3 is better than the bishop, the light square bishop.
Yeah.
So we should change. We should change the pieces, the most active pieces
of the opponents.
Yeah.